As the economy shifts and changes, it can seem harder than ever before to get noticed, get traction in your business, and generate real income. So in this video, I sit down with Peter Voogd, author of 6 Months to Six Figures, and he's gonna break down his 6 steps for going from dead broke to 6 figures in 6 months, coming up. Hey, what's up? Sean here with Think Media, bringing you the best tips and tools for building your influence with online video. And I'm sitting here today with Peter Voogd, author of 6 Months to Six Figures, over 400,000 copies sold. Peter has built over $8 million in sales by age 27, far surpassed that since then, and helps leaders, Olympians, athletes, millennials, all of us learn how to leverage social media, build our businesses, and make a greater impact. Peter, how's it going?
Amazing, man. Excited to be here. Fired up as always.
Fired up to have you on Think Media. And to go through this process, I listened to your book on audiobook, and it really shifted my business. It helped us accelerate. And so we're in this business-minded content creator series here on Think Media. So let's just dive right into this series. But before we get into it, if people are just kind of meeting you, how did this come about? Like, what's the backstory of this?
Well, the backstory is I didn't know there were 6 steps to 6 figures when I was in the trenches, when I was broke. I was just trying to get out of it and actually become successful. But thinking back and really spending hours thinking about how I did go from broke to 6 figures. And it was originally 6 figures in 12 months. But when I looked at the finances, I realized that I did it in 5.5. So where it came about was I could not sleep at night, Sean, because I knew I had this message. I knew I had these things I went through, all these failures, these challenges, these mindset shifts I went through to go from broke. And there's no worse feeling than feeling like you have no choices. I felt like my back was against the wall. I was stressed out. I was frustrated. And then thinking back to then finally making 6 figures and having financial freedom, it was driving me nuts not having that message out there with the world. So I'd fall asleep like no one is being helped by me. So the book was really, didn't even think about making money. It was more like I had to get this book out to reach more people. So that's where it came from, is just I had to get it out, and I knew I had steps to help people. And thinking back, there were 6 key steps that I took from dead broke and frustrated to 6 figures within 6 months and thriving and having a whole different way of thinking. That's where it came from. So it wasn't in the moment. I didn't know it was 6 steps, but thinking back, and this has been done in 9 or 10 different industries now. So and it's thousands of people have proven it. So I know it works, but I didn't know it worked at the time till I did it.
I love it. So we're gonna get into the tips, but a little bit of backstory is where you did this was up in the Pacific Northwest. I actually grew up in Seattle.
Tacoma, Washington.
So what year, Tacoma, Washington, when these tips went down? What year was it?
2013. 2013.
Yeah. So you were in Tacoma, Washington, building a team and applying these principles.
Yeah, the years before, I was in direct sales, struggling, frustrated, discouraged. I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment with literally like a box spring and no box spring and a mattress, broke and frustrated. And I had just dropped out of college. I'm from a small town of like 7,000 people. So college is like life to small towns. Like if you don't go to college, you're a failure. So I had just dropped out of college and I was gonna start my business, and then I failed. So not only did I felt like I let my family down and I let everyone around me down, and all my friends are having fun, drinking, partying, swimming, and I'm like going up to Tacoma to start a business. I'll never forget that feeling, man. So that's why I want to share this so much, because a lot of people could be going through that. They went against the grain. They didn't want to do what their parents told them to do. They wanted to follow their passion and calling. That's why it came about. So yeah, I was in Tacoma, and it was somewhat of a rough area, but I made it work through these steps.
Well, I'm fired up.
Yeah.
And number 1 is the power of absolute clarity. What's that about?
So clarity is power, and getting absolute clarity, there's nothing more important than moving with like clear intention. So for me, when I was broke and discouraged, I had to get crystal clear on a couple things. And this is where it started. I had so much fuzzy thinking. I had so many different influences. Most of my friends were in the same position as me, broke, and they're telling me, oh, you're 22, you can be broke. We're supposed to be broke. You're 22, it's fine. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know if you're supposed to feel like this frustrated and have no choices. So I had to make a decision on exactly what I really wanted. Who I was, who I wasn't, who I needed, and who to respect, because you become who you respect. Mm-hmm. And I was respecting everybody, and I was taking too many opinions. So I think for anybody, it's like, what do you really, really want in the next 6 months? Not what sounds good or not based on your past experiences and based on your insecurities. If there was zero limitations, what is your ideal outcome in the next 6 months? And that was what I had to figure out is, what do I really want? Well, I knew one thing. I did not want to be broke ever again. And I wanted financial freedom. And I wanted to get out of the rut I was in to make people around me proud, to have more choices, and to finally feel successful and fulfilled. So I had to get crystal clear. And for me, I wrote down, here's a couple things I wrote down. I wrote down my ideal vision. Like, okay, if I had no limitations, what's the ideal vision? How big is my team? What's my morning routine look like? How much money am I making? How much do I have saved? How much is coming in monthly? If I ask 100 entrepreneurs, Sean, what's your ideal outcome in 6 months? 99 out of 100 are vague. Well, I want to make more money. Yes, so does everybody else.
Yeah.
But it's like crystal clear. How many customers? What's your routine? Like, what feelings are you experiencing? Who's on your team? How much money? Like, what's the marketing look like? So I spent a couple days like writing an ideal plan. Now, did I think I was fully gonna hit that? No, but that's irrelevant. People always say you have to believe. I didn't believe, but I took action and I still wrote it down and did it like I did believe.
Yeah.
So I wrote down my ideal vision, and then I wrote down the top 5 results, because results is kind of the name of the game. Like, your job as an entrepreneur is to produce results whether you feel like it or not.
Yeah.
So I finally was getting some mentors, and they said, it's your job, you have to produce results. So I wrote down the list of my top 5. What are the top 5 things that have to happen in my business for me to move the needle forward? And that was, and that's, depends on what business, what industry you're in. So there's no point in me telling you guys mine. It's just you figure it out for yourself.
Yep.
Then I wrote down, this is the big one, my reasons. All of the reasons, because reasons come first, results come second. So when I got clear on what I wanted, and then I knew I knew the steps, now I'm like, okay, I gotta stack up so much ammo because I'm not always motivated. I'm still kind of in a discouraging state. So I made a list of my top 20 or 30 like reasons, like why I wanted to thrive, not just survive. And I realized that 15, most of them were kind of BS. Like, I was still gonna wake up at 7 or 8 in the morning, but there was 4 or 5 compelling reasons that like literally were internally driven, that when I looked at those, I got goosebumps and it made me wake up at 4 or 5. So if you're not waking up right now at 4 or 5 in the morning, fired up and excited, you don't have strong enough reasons, period. So those reasons will fuel, and when the reasons are strong enough and compelling enough, you'll be resourceful to start finding answers versus, I don't know what's next. You don't have strong enough reasons. So I wrote down reasons that really fired me up. And that was one of the things that got me so resourceful and focused, which will lead me into my next step. But that was what I did, is I got crystal clear on what I wanted, why I wanted it. And then I got crystal clear on who I was, who I needed to be. And then here's a big one. Then I wrote down some things I was willing to give up to get what I wanted. Because a lot of people want all day long, but then they're like, I don't want to give up sleep. I don't want to give up drinking. I don't want to give up hanging out with my friends, but I still want this success. If you have level 10 goals and level 4 habits, you'll always live incongruently. So I had to figure out like what I was willing to give up, and it was time with family, it was weekends, it was sleep. And so when I figured out what I wanted, what the reasons were and what I was willing to give up, that gave me more clarity than ever. And then I started figuring out more deeper, like what my values were. Okay, what do I really value? And values change based on where you're at. So my values at that time were, first was like financial freedom, because when you don't have money, usually your value is like, I need money. You're like survival. And then it was like flexibility, peace of mind, impact, income. And I made sure everything I was doing was matching up to those values. And now my values have changed. Money's not number one. Like freedom, family, flexibility, impact, way before money. I've turned down $15,000 speeches and given free speeches because it's my impact value now. Yeah. But once I did that and I had my compelling reasons, that's when I started having a little more excitement in my life, hunger, drive, passion, and that led me to number 2. So that was the clarity part.
99% of entrepreneurs don't have clarity if you ask them where they're going to be in their next 6 months. So Think Media, this is some powerful stuff. If you haven't already grabbed a phone or a piece of paper or your journal, follow along with this video and make notes and get clear on your own vision. And then tell us in the comments, what is your ideal vision 6 months from now? It's powerful when you lean in, share that with the world, kind of put some accountability out there. And man, if you're getting value from what Peter's sharing, can you smash the like button? Peter, number 2 is increase your most important account. What's that?
This brings me back, by the way, because I haven't talked about this in a while. Once I got crystal clear on what I wanted, I realized that if my mindset and my beliefs aren't in alignment with where I want to go, you're always going to be pulled back to that level of where your mindset is. And if you don't have confidence, this was a scary thing that I learned. If you don't have confidence, you will always find a way to lose. Even if you get results, you'll find a way. You'll find a way to get, like people that win the lottery, I got confidence, but they've never really earned that much, they go back to broke.
It's like self-sabotage.
75% of them. So I was like, I have to increase. The most important account is not your bank account, it's your confidence account. So, and here's the scary thing. You're either helping or hurting at all times. There's no in between. So every decision you make either helps your confidence account or hurts it. And I realized at that time, almost every decision I was making was hurting my confidence. So you either make the easy or the tough. You make the easy decisions now, life gets way tough. We all know, like, sadly, the 30, 35, 40-year-old that's like struggling, hates what they do, no money, because they made all these easy decisions that were comfortable in their 20s. So I was making easy decisions. So I'm not saying that's a bad person. That was me. Yeah. So an example is like choosing growth in the moment was the key for me. But an example was, should you go out Friday night or should you stay in and write down your goals? Should you go drink or should you read a book? Should you eat the cheeseburger or the salad? Should you wake up or hit the alarm? Should you work out or should you do nothing? And at that moment, it was always easy. It was like, oh, I'll relax, I'll work out. I was always like, I'll do it later. Yep. And then I realized that's why my confidence was so low. So I started shifting that and I made a conscious decision, okay, in the moment, I need to make the tough decision, whatever it is. I still remember, it was even as little as, I remember I had a Brian Tracy CD and it was like The Power of Achievement. And it was like music or personal growth. And in the moment, I'm like, personal growth. And that gave me something that sparked something else that got me some results in my business, and it's an upward spiral. The two scariest things in life, I think, are momentum and lack of it. And I finally got some momentum, so I didn't want to lose it. So there's a lot of ways to elevate your confidence, making the tough decisions, getting around the right people, stop fearing what people think about you. I think the biggest confidence boost is getting actual results. So when I started getting results, my confidence went up. When I started hanging out with higher level people, my confidence went up. When I started to make decisions based on the decisions I made, based on principles and standards versus moods and feelings, that really increased my confidence. So for me, one of the biggest things was, it's called the decision train. We could even maybe put a visual up. The decision train is something where most people make decisions based off their mood or feeling. So if they don't feel like working out, what do?
They just sit around.
Yeah, if they don't feel like recording a video, they don't do it. If they don't feel like writing the goal, they don't do it. And the problem is that leads to a lot of frustration and anger and resentment and lack of results. So for me, I was like, okay, I'm gonna switch the train and I'm gonna say, it doesn't matter how I feel, I'm gonna make a decision. So most people, feelings, right? Decision, action. I'm like, I'm gonna make a decision, action, feeling. So if I didn't feel like working out, it doesn't matter, I already said I was gonna work out. So I'm working out regardless how I feel. And I got addicted to the feeling of doing what I said I was gonna do, and that was a big game changer. So making decisions and not letting them waver based off your mood or feelings is a huge confidence boost that really, really helped me as well. So confidence was a big one for me, man. It's just, if I could simplify it, it's just making the tough decision in the moment. Like, that's it.
And I know we got entrepreneurs watching, but of course in our community, these business-minded content creators, confidence is everything. Yeah. You need confidence to put yourself out there, and if you don't have it, you gave us so many intentional ways of how to grow it. Be intentional to think about growing your confidence and adding more to that account every single day, which brings us to tip number 3, shifting your circle of influence. What does that mean?
So finally, I got confidence. And this wasn't like in 3 days. Confidence is kind of like watching grass grow. It's like buying a bond. It's like over time. You're not gonna watch this video and all of a sudden you're like Superman. It's daily improvements of making the tougher decision. It's not like a book or a video. It's like you have to be in the trenches making the tough decisions and thinking things through and thinking about your future self. Finally, I started gaining confidence. Now, here's the scary thing. I had my clarity and I had my confidence up, but those two things don't really make money right away. So I'm like, I'm still broke. That sucks. And then I'm like, how am I still, like, I have no money. I'm working 50 hours a week. And a big key here is I was listening to society. That's almost always the wrong thing to do. So I would ask society, family, friends, nothing like, they're not bad people, but you don't want to take advice, money advice from someone that's not financially free. Yep. They would say, just work harder, work more hours. So I'd go from 50 hours to 60 hours to 70 hours then 80. And I'm like, okay, I'm maxed out and I still have no results. So that's not the answer. It's working right? So finally I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to shift my circle of influence. Someone said something in an event that I'll never forget. That's a quote in the book. But if you want to be a millionaire, talk to billionaires. You'll get there quicker. And it doesn't literally mean talk to billionaires. It means find people that have already gone where you want to be and start getting mentored or get advice from them. So for me, I wrote a list, and I realized at that moment, I made a list of all the people I was around. Literally, their income was like within a couple thousand of mine. Like they were making no money. So I was like, I have to make a list of people that are making the income I want. So I made a list of people in my company that were making 400, 500, 600 grand, and I reached out to them. A lot of them said no. And when I started talking to them, I asked them, what am I doing wrong? Here's my daily schedule. Here's my mindset. Here's my thought process. And I evaluated kind of like where I was, and I didn't have the answer. So a couple breakthroughs here that I'm getting fired up about. First, I used to bang my head against the wall, Sean, because I thought I had to have the answer. Biggest myth and mistake in the world. You don't have to have the answer. Your network does. So the people around you do. I don't feel like I have to have the answer for videos because I'm calling you.
Yeah.
Not joking, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to have all the answers. So that was a big key. So here's a tactical activity. I made a make it or break it list. In that moment, I wrote down the 5 maintenance friends I had at the time that maybe were holding me back. They were kind of like, I don't want to say lazy, but they didn't have big goals. They were okay with being broke. Yeah. And then I made a list of my 5 growth friends that I either wanted to connect with or that had the goals and had the lifestyle that I wanted. Never take advice from someone that you wouldn't trade places with their lifestyle. So I lowered the time I spent with my maintenance friends. That's it. And I increased the time I spent with my growth friends. And just from doing that, I started seeing my income grow faster than anything else. I didn't even know what to do, but they told me what to do because they've already been there. Yeah. So the number one question I've gotten the last couple of years with the book is, yeah, but give me this, like, how do you go from broke to 6 figures? Well, the only people I connected with were people making 500K. How I could have no resources, a bad mindset, I could have no money, I could come from the worst past ever. How can you not make 6 figures if every single person you're talking to is making 500K?
Yep.
So that was a big key. And if you hang out with 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th. You hang out with 5 confident people, you'll be the 6th. You hang out with 5 idiots, you tell me. Or 5 alcoholics. Who do alcoholics hang out with?
Alcoholics.
It's just a fact, right? So that was such a game changer for me, man. It's just shifting your circle of influence, making a list of people that are already where you want to be, being very, very careful with who you respect, and just take few opinions. I think millennials, which is a lot of my audience, they take advice from anybody. Don't take advice from anybody. Take advice from people that have similar values that you do, that you would trade places with. So here's an example now, when I fast forward a couple of years. I want to be the dad. I have a son on the way, which is crazy. It's so cool to think about. But I want to be the dad that is not working 100 hours, that wants to take their kid to basketball practice. So there's a lot of influencers now, I'm not going to say names, that are all about hustle, 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 hustle. And they work 100 hours a week and all they do is hustle. They never see their kids. And I don't want to be like that. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not my style. Yeah. So I'm not going to follow someone that promotes hustle and grind all day long when they're 45 years old and they have kids.
Yeah.
So it's like someone else might follow them, but if you follow someone, you're going to eventually kind of take on some of their traits subconsciously. So that's why it's important to follow people that you respect that have similar values and a similar lifestyle. So that was number 3, man.
And that connects to clarity, because once you
100%.
have that clarity and that self-awareness, then you know who to follow. The book is 6 months to 6 figures.
Yeah, it's deeper dive in the book, of course.
Deeper dive in the book. If you haven't checked it out, of course, we'll link to it in the description below. I got it on Audible, and it was awesome just to kind of renew my mind and go through this process. We had already hit 6 figures and multiple 6 in our business, but it actually, at the time of listening to this, that accelerated us to 7. Because
we've got that too.
Yeah, it's like the principles, you can keep going through that process, keep getting more clarity, keep building your network, keep building your confidence account. But hey, this is part 1. We're gonna hit the other 3 tips in part 2. So make sure you're subscribed. And for other videos in the series, check out the Business Minded Content Creator series. We'll link it up on the YouTube card and put it in the description below. Peter, thanks again for being here. I can't wait for part 2.
My pleasure. Let's do it.